In this video, I'll talk about the methods of substitution, which has 3 steps. The first step says to choose a variable in one of the 2 equations. Solve the equation for that variable. Step 2, substitute the result from step 1 into the other equation and solve for the remaining variable. Step 3, use the value of the variable from step 2 to figure out the value of the other variable. Those are the 3 steps. So let's say I have the following equation here. I'm going to go with the second equation and solve for the variable x. So negative 2x, if you subtract the 6y on both sides, you get negative 2x equals negative 6y minus 18. To isolate the variable x, I'll divide everything by negative 2, and then I get x equals 3y plus 9. This is what x equals using the first step. Now step 2 is to take the result from step 1, substitute that into the equation that we didn't use, which is equation 1. So this becomes 3 parentheses 3y plus 9 minus 4y equals the value 2. So what we did is, from step 1, we know what x is equal to. You take this result and then substitute that into the x variable right here. And then distribute to solve for y. 9y plus 27 minus 4y equals positive 2. Combine the like terms. 9y minus 4y makes 5y plus 27 equals 2. Subtract the 27 to both sides. 5y equals negative 25, and divide by 5 to isolate the variable y. So y equals negative 5. So the value of y is equal to negative 5. And step 3 says to take the value from step 2 and substitute into either one of those 2 equations. It really doesn't matter which one you substitute, but if you remember, I solved the second equation for x. I know what x is equal to. So if x equals 3y plus 9, then y would be equal to, you take this value, substitute right here. This would be equal to 3 times your y value plus 9, which equals negative 15 plus 9 equals negative 6. So this is what x is equal to. So x equals negative 6 and y equals negative 5. Let's check. And it should make both the equations satisfy. So x equals negative 6, y equals negative 5. That's what we're saying. The original equation, first equation, was 3x minus 4y equals 2. What happens if I substitute negative 6 for x and negative 5 for y? Does that make that equal to 2? Negative 18 minus and a minus will make a positive 20 equals 2, and I have a 2 equals 2. It satisfies the first equation. What about the second equation? Negative 2x plus 6y. I want this to be equal to negative 18. Negative 2 times my x value is negative 6, plus 6 times your y value equals negative 18. Is this true? Well, you get a positive 12 minus 30 equals negative 18. Well, that's negative 18 equals negative 18. So that satisfies the second equation as well. So that is how you solve using the substitution method. Now let's look at problem number 2. So problem number 2, I have this as the actual problem. So if y equals negative 2x plus 1, 2x minus 2y equals 4, well, step 1 is already done for us. One of the variable is already isolated right here. So we take this result right here and substitute into the y value right here, which gives you the following here. 2x minus 2 times your y, which is this right here, equals 4. Distribute the negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 makes positive 4x. Negative 2 times 1 makes negative 2, and I have it equal to 4. Combine the like terms, 2x and 4x would make 6x minus 2 equals 4. Do the inverse, add 2, you get 6x equals 6. Divide by 6, you get x equals 1. So step 2 is done. Step 3 is to take the value from step 2 and substitute in either one of the two equations. So I'll choose this right here as my equation. So I'll take this value, plug it in right here, which equals negative 2 parentheses 1 plus 1. Add those two. So that means y equals negative 1. Let's go to problem number 3. Let's say I have y equals 2x plus 4 and negative 5x minus 5y is equal to negative 5. And again, step 1, one of the variable is already isolated. So we take that result and substitute into that right there. Step 2 says to rewrite the problem here of 5 times your y and set it equal to negative 5. So I take this 2x plus 4, substitute right here. Distribute. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. X, negative 5 times 4 is negative 20, equals negative 5. Combine the like terms. Those two make negative 15. X minus 20 equals negative 5. Add the 20 to both sides. Negative 15x equals 20 plus negative 5 is a positive 15. Do the inverse. So divide by negative 15 both sides. You get x equals negative 1. Now, step 3. We'll take this value and substitute into the first equation. It's easier to solve for y there. So that means y equals 2 times your x value plus 4. Y equals negative 2 plus 4, which means y equals positive 2. So the solution would be negative 1